TikTok, what's up guys? How are we doing? Good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. TikTok, thank you for joining me. Okay, good morning everyone. Good morning. I appreciate you guys for tuning in here. Is the sound coming through good? We got the mic hooked up. Hopefully that's coming through loud and clear for you guys. I appreciate everyone for tuning in this morning. What is going on? What's up? What's up? Okay guys, so big announcement that we got to cover. Are you guys ready? Tap the screen, share the stream. Let's tell your friends and family. Quick update on TikTok happening right now. Here's the deal, guys. Lebanon woke up this morning. The people of Lebanon woke up and their value of their dollar, the Lebanese pound, had been devalued 90%, guys. So I titled this little live session here this morning, Overnight Reset Confirmed. This is what we were seeing and making riddles about and memes about in the XRP community, right? With the overnight reset, with XRP overnight set price. This is overnight set price. It's just going the other way. It's going the other way. So what we're talking about in the XRP community, doing our riddles, doing our moon dates, looking at the bear, and we look and we're waiting for XRP to go to a higher set price. This is what's taking place in real time, but it's going the other way. Lebanese pound, we woke up this morning, 90% devalued. And the central banks are doing this because they're in a sovereign debt crisis. These countries are in trouble. So Lebanon, Central Bank of Lebanon decided February 1st, we're going to wake up to 90% less value in our dollar so that they can go pay back their debt and obligations and liabilities. Why does this matter to you? Because your 401k, your pensions are about to go get wiped out. The Sovereign Wealth Fund of Norway, we just covered this in last night's live show, lost $164 billion, guys. These are sovereign wealth funds with their retirement accounts, right? This is not supposed to be happening. Absolutely not supposed to be happening. $164 billion loss last year by Norway's sovereign wealth fund. That's the retirement accounts of Norway. Bust. Who runs that country? The same people that are operating within this country as well. Jemmy, great point. And that's why this relates to everyone. You're thinking, oh, this is in Lebanon. Who cares? Argentina, inflation 100%. Who cares? I'm in the United States. I'm still drinking my coffee. I can still drive down to Starbucks and pick up a freaking coffee here for $7. Life's still good here. We just accept paying $7 for a coffee. Unbelievable. Ridiculous. Waste of money. But we look at these countries and we think it can't happen here, you know, and we make a joke out of it here in the United States, and we're still having fun and we're still woke, and we're going to ban natural gas stoves, and we're good people. We're righteous people because we're going to ban gas stoves and eat crickets and bike to work. See, the masses are more concerned about being woke, not realizing that they're going broke, and they are going to get wiped out, guys. Overnight reset, 90% currency devaluation. They have no silver. They have no precious metals that are actually going to hold their value. Thought Zach would be a Dunkin' guy. I don't have a Dunkin' around here. Those 15-minute cities. So then they just showed you guys, and they just continue to show us what their plan is. And see, now that the plan's out in the open, they embrace it, right? Now, that's why they're so bold, guys, is because they think that they're righteous beings. Their presence is so graceful upon earth. They're saving us, humanity. And what are they doing? 15-minute cities. 15-minute cities, you don't leave. Everything's right there for you. I wonder if they include eating meat. Because we also said, we also heard that they want 1 billion people to stop eating meat. So this is the plan. 15-minute cities. I can't even speak on it much more further than that, on what else they want to do to you, put in you, track. You understand, it's 15-minute cities, CBDCs, surveillance state, and you better be a good citizen. We all got to be good citizens, okay? And everything that we do is going to be tracked and traced. And if we misbehave, the nanny state steps in and takes care of us. Whether that's, cutting your UBI check. Instead of getting your $1,200 this month, you're only going to get $600 because you have been a bad citizen. You ate meat twice last month, so we're going to dock you. And so here's the thing with my focus. We can complain about their agenda. We can say, I'm not going to participate in the 15-minute cities. I'm probably going to pass on that one, okay? But I appreciate the suggestion. I appreciate, the suggestion of biking to work, eating crickets, and, living a life with no values and purpose. I understand the suggestion, and I appreciate that. But I'm going to pass on that. Thank you very much. And I'm not going to be waiting for the sovereign wealth fund that I've invested in to lose $164 billion. I'm not going to wait for our central bank here in the United States to give us an overnight reset. We've devalued the currency by 90%. I'm not waiting around. And for me, I don't own gold. I told you, you guys know where I'm at. I've just got into metals over the last year, but I've been stacking silver. And if you need metals, get in touch with me, link in bio, get in touch with me, we'll get you metals. Okay, we got reputable sources, we can get you metals, shipped directly to your house. But here's the thing, guys. Do something, please, because we have an overnight reset confirmed here in Lebanon is the country that's doing the reset today. Today's currency reset is taking place in Lebanon. The Sovereign Wealth Fund of Norway, one of many that's reporting a record loss, $164 billion loss last year. That's pensions, retirements going bust in real time. It's coming back here to America too. If you need a little, understanding here, just those two pieces of news confirm everything that we've been talking about. Sovereign wealth fund, pensions, retirements bust, losing $164 billion last year. All of the central banks having record losses last year. But what were they doing? See, the central banks were reporting record losses while they went and stacked a record amount of gold. Not silver, but gold. You get the idea. Stuff it in the vault. And then, what are we going to do today? 90% currency devaluation. That means that this, is going to grow nearly 100%. I paid $7 for this overpriced coffee today. Tomorrow, we wake up today and we get the currency devaluation. We go up, we nearly double the price, guys. That's what happens. Overnight reset. Your Starbucks latte. You see the symbolism too? You guys know how they operate. This is a $7 cup of tea. This is a medicine ball. Tomorrow, $14. Because your central bank decides to devalue your currency by 90%. So let's just round up to 100% loss. So you're paying $14. But at least you're woke. Right? At least you're woke. At least you walked. See, they're going to put the Starbucks in the 15-minute city. So you'll be able to walk down there and pay $14 for your Starbucks woke latte. It's going to be such a great life. And then you walk across to the protein bar where they're serving up fresh crickets. Oh, and you're not even allowed to own this, by the way, right? They're going to say, no, you're done. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, they don't have to ban it from us, guys. I'm going to tell you guys this little secret right now. Not many people are talking about this. The industrial use for silver is growing so rapidly in solar panels and all the woke new green energy, right? Like we're making fun of right now, 15-minute cities, solar panels everywhere. They'll let you have a little garden that's on your little railway. You won't have a patio or deck out of your coffin apartment, but you'll at least be able to look out and you'll have a little railing and you'll have, a few plants, growing your little herbs or whatever. And you won't be able to own this, right? But I'm going to tell you guys right now, I went to the Precious Metals Conference over the last weekend, Vancouver Resource Investment Conference, and they were talking about the truth that's taking place right now, which is the industrial supply, the industrial need for silver is draining the supply of above ground silver to the point where there was a 200 million ounce deficit. Guys, okay, so let's visualize this. This is 1 ounce right here, silver, 1 ounce, 10 ounces. We had a shortage of 200 million ounces last year on silver. And why is that? In countries like China, they're building double-sided solar panels, so you got twice as much silver being used on those panels. In the new solar panels that are more efficient, they're using silver, more silver, to help them become more efficient. And that's just the use of solar energy. These batteries, the solar energy space is draining the supply of silver. But then you're seeing the move to renewables and the new green economy, right? Silver is playing such a pivotal role in that new industrial role that it's playing, that we could see a time here where Apple, Tesla, and all these big corporations, these trillion-dollar corporations, are the only ones that are able to get their hands on silver because the demand is running tight. The demand is short. Sorry, the supply is short. The demand continues to grow and the supply is not increasing at a rate that is going to keep it, like I said, 200 million ounce deficit between supply and demand. The economy, the demand was 200 million more ounces than were actually produced above ground. And you can't set up a silver mine overnight. You can devalue a currency. This is a great point. You can devalue a currency overnight 90%, but you can't go build a silver mine overnight. In fact, it may take 10 years. In fact, what are they doing now? They're making these guys go through hell to launch their permitting for all of these projects that they're trying to do. All these miners that were at the conference, they're mining everything from lithium to every commodity. And these guys are on a 10-year time frame with their investment because that's how long it takes to go through the permit process and get it out of the ground. So that's where we're at. Guys, these two news articles tell you everything. Norway's sovereign wealth fund loses a record $164 billion last year. Okay, let me throw in another data point. Go look at all of the historic record losses at all of the central banks as well. So the sovereign wealth fund of Norway, that's retirement accounts, pensions, right? And we see here a record loss there. But then we go over to the central banks, they are reporting record losses while they're buying more gold than they've bought in 55 years. Going all the way back to the last time they did a currency reset revaluation. Gee, what a funny coincidence. And then the party's still going on here in the United States. We're still having a relatively good time. We're still woke, going to pay for $7 coffee, while in other countries like Argentina, inflation's at 100%. And today, February 1st, in Lebanon, the people of that country woke up to their currency being devalued by 90%. And what's already been taking place in Lebanon? Has it been peaceful in the streets over there? Are the banks giving the people the money when they ask for it? There's literally, and guys, there's bank heists taking place in Lebanon because people couldn't get their cash out. They couldn't get their cash out, which is a problem in itself. But then they wake up today and the cash that they were able to get out of the banking system to be able to buy food for their family is devalued 90% today. Hey, Happy New Year. New year, new us. New currency revaluation. New year, new us. February 1st. Happy Valentine's Day. And like I said, this is why for me, it's about having offline assets first. Something that I can barter with first before I think about the gains in silver, bro. The gains are going to be sick. The gains are going to be sick. When the manipulation schemes get bust, and as we're seeing with Basel IV compliance, we know what the rollover here is. The new rules don't allow the manipulation like they used to. So when we finally go out into price discovery, it's going to be fun, for sure. Where do we buy silver? The link in my bio. Get in touch with me. We'll get it done. Just send me an email. Say I'm interested in precious metals, and we'll get you taken care of. Fast Eddie, we will get you taken care of. Thoughts on XRP Lion? I have not talked with XRP Lion other than a couple messages back and forth. So I guess I've talked to him a little bit. I guess I should probably get XRP Lion on because I need a little explanation from him on how he's been able to put all this work together. I saw that he was on with Mel. Yeah, I did see that, Lawn Boy. Should I buy a house? See, I'm not here to be your financial advisor to tell you what to do. I'm just telling you what's happening in real time and how I'm positioning myself. So right now, I am putting cash on the sidelines so that I can move in on real estate. Right now, I'm surrounding myself with a team that will help me buy and invest and manage real estate. So brokers, contractors, insurance guys, property managers, everyone who's going to help you conduct these transactions. And then on top of that, I'm going in, I'm getting mentors, I'm getting people like my good friend Johnny, who's going to be putting on a real estate seminar this Saturday. Little real estate deal that we're doing this Saturday in my Discord group. This is what I'm doing. Cash on the sidelines. I am going to buy a property. I'm going to get my first property. I don't own any property now. I rent where I live. Okay. I'm 28 years old, ready to buy my first house, but I haven't seen enough paint in the streets. So this is what we're doing right now. We're finding value. We're trying to find value and opportunity. That's all we're trying to do with our investments. What overnight reset? The Central Bank of Lebanon just devalued their currency by 90% overnight. And this is just one of many countries that are in a similar situation and central banks that are taking similar actions. Cell service is going in and out currently in Pennsylvania. Truckers are talking about it. Yeah. Will the aliens take out silver? Well, it's interesting because the story that we're supposed to believe is they're going to be mining asteroids, I guess, too, for gold, I guess, and other rare earth minerals. So I don't know. Yeah, rent where you live and then buy property to rent out for investment. Yeah. Rent where you live and then invest in real estate. I get that. So for me, that is the case in my market, is that it for many people, it will make more sense to rent than buy in my market because the prices are so out of whack. The prices don't make sense from a fundamental perspective. But see, this is where real estate is so dynamic of an asset class, is because it's based off of your local area. I see Jemmy's cutting and slashing, modding. Jemmy, I appreciate you. Appreciate you for watching these guys. It's funny, we're talking here, having a discussion about a few interesting points, and the haters just can't help themselves, right? The haters just keep pulling up, talking smack, talking nonsense. Jemmy, I appreciate you. Your own house is not an asset. Yeah, correct. Yeah, if you got more money going out on that house than's coming in, 100%. Yeah, and that's the thing, is I got to meet Robert Kiyosaki, the original guy who basically taught that. From my understanding, is that Robert Kiyosaki was the first guy to say that your house is not an asset, and he took a whole lot of shit for that. Because obviously for most people, especially in America, their house they do consider to be their biggest asset. But if you are having to pay out money every single month, more so than what's coming in, that would meet the definition of a liability. So it is true. And the unfortunate part is that even when you pay off your property, say you own your property outright, or you just have a bunch of equity in your house too, that's great, but you pay your property outright, you still have to pay the property taxes. It's like you never control the property 100% yourself with real estate. But that's no reason to shy away from the real estate. You're always going to have, as far as we're in this system, we're going to have to pay our taxes and deal with that. One of the reasons why to invest into real estate is because it's one of the most tax favored assets available to invest in. You got 3,000 ounces. That's awesome, man. I don't even know how many ounces I have. I know how much cash I've allocated to precious metals. And like I said, I've only been in silver, but I'm not sure how many ounces I got. I want to pick up like a big 100-ounce bar is my next goal. What would you do if you buy a duplex and the profit and expenses are equal after your purchase? Well, then you're just break even on your investment, right? And in fact, I would add that you're probably going to take a loss, because if you're break even before something goes wrong, when something goes wrong, that means you're negative. And something's always going to go wrong with every business, with every investment. So that's the thing right now. With the investments that we're making right now, what's the one thing that we need to make sure is getting done? Cash flow needs to cover debt service. Whether you're buying a business, whether you're buying real estate, cash flow must cover debt service. And for many people, they were speculators. They weren't building real businesses. They're quickly figuring that out with this market as the interest rates have flipped and they've been raised 3 times basically. Yeah, and actually we have an announcement coming from Jerome Powell here at 11, I believe, is the time that he's going to be going live, 11 Pacific Standard Time. So here in about an hour, Jerome Powell is going to be speaking and telling us what the next rate hike is going to be, whether it's going to be 0.25% or 0.5%. So right now, guys, the market is back down slightly. We're kind of just hanging out there. We're at 22.9 for Bitcoin. Okay, and then the stocks were down today, though. The stocks, here they are. I'm pulling a Dow is down 1%, the S&P down 0.5%, and the NASDAQ down 0.23. So, yeah, the stocks here have dipped a little bit today, and what we see here is the market. If we watch what's happened on all of these, it's actually pumped. It's like every time the Fed has spoke, everyone kind of already expects what they're announcing. So we get all this like short-term trading, right? And it can be kind of to the downside. But then we've been getting these pumps on the day of Jerome Powell speaking. And it's been interesting to watch, because back when I was trading, we were trading these days. We were watching, and Jerome Powell would speak and everyone would be like, oh yeah, we were ready for a 0.5% interest rate hike, right? We expected that. So the market pumps and it's all good. And no one actually listens to what he says. So the algorithms and the bots, and you guys got your little trading bots that you're trading with, playing around with. I know you guys got your little trading bots that you're playing with. You and all the other bots are buying the dip, or pumping the Fed news. Your AI bots programmed based off of what Jerome Powell says to buy the dip or to buy this. And we were shorting because we weren't falling for it. And so what we've seen here is the market, gets one last final pump up until Jerome Powell speaks, and then over the next 48 hours, 24 to 48 hours, we've been recovering back down to the downside. Market is pumped. Tesla just had its best month in 2 years. Yeah, let's see what Tesla's at, I guess. Okay, Tesla's up 0.5% at $174. Wow. That's incredible. Let me pull up the Tesla chart, actually. I want to zoom out. I want to see where this thing was at. This thing was all the way up at $415 just last year. I remember that. Yeah. So Tesla, along with a lot of these tech stocks and with a lot of these cryptocurrencies, these more speculative plays, have just been smashed. I see, though, that Tesla's had a good bounce. All these have had a good bounce, right? But we see the same manipulation taking place in the cryptocurrency space right now, right? That led us to pump up last month. Did we reset? Well, we have an overnight reset that's been confirmed now in Lebanon. So Lebanon woke up today and their currency had been devalued by 90%. So here's what I'll say on Tesla. I'm not interested in any of these companies that are public, that me and the other doofus morons that are bullish on Elon are trying to pump up. And we're going to make what? 2x? 3x? I don't want to be in that game. That game is not opportunity. That's being a doofus moron with everybody else that's bullish on Elon. And I'm, I understand Elon. I get Elon through and through. But I'm not caught up in that game. The only stock moves that I'm looking to play are private placements before the company goes public and before it gets put onto the markets for all the doofus morons to buy. Guys, we've been sold this whole story of investing in the stock market and investing in all these things after all of the insiders already got paid. So think about this. The average 60-40 portfolio is made up 40%. This is the average portfolio that Wall Street wants you to be in. With your 401k, with your retirement account, this is what the right thing to do is. 60-40, 40% bonds. 40% bonds after we're seeing record losses by central banks. We're seeing countries like Lebanon devalue their currency by 90% overnight. We're seeing sovereign wealth funds like Norway lose a record $164 billion last year. And you want me to invest into that business, or in this case, that country? You want me to buy US treasuries? 40% of my portfolio should be in bonds? Which, don't take it from me. It's not my opinion. It's a fact that bonds had their worst year ever last year. I'm not sharing my opinion. I'm sharing facts. My crypto bags got wrecked. Facts. But it was the worst year on record ever in the history of a bond market that's been around for a long time. The bond market's not something new. This ain't crypto, bro. This is bonds that have been around for a long time. Worst year ever. So they want you to have 40% of your portfolio in bonds. And then with the other 60%, what should you do? Well diversified between indexes, mutual funds, and maybe a few individual stocks. Come join the scheme that we've been running for decades now, right? That we've suckered millions and millions of Americans into. A 60-40 portfolio that had its third worst year ever, right? Don't take it from me. This is not my opinion. Once again, you can make fun of the crypto bros. You can make fun of the XRP army. The XRP army is still waiting, still holding, still accumulating, by the way. Doubled the size of my XRP bags last year because we have 100% faith. You can make fun of us, but we have to look at the facts. It was the third worst year on record for the 60-40 portfolio and the worst year on record ever for the bonds. And where is the opportunity? You're not an insider, right? If you catch some of these moves and you catch the upside, if you've been in the stocks for the last 10 years and you've caught upside, that's great, right? This situation's different now. This is not the same economy. We're in a recession. And so if you wait for the pundits and CNBC and the smart guys, the economists, to tell you that you're in a recession, you're already going to be done for, killed, wiped out, and taken to slaughter by the time that this gets announced publicly for everyone to realize that, oh yeah, it was a recession, guys. Yeah. We tried to change the definition of recession. It offended us, so we no longer call it a recession. When is the most likely date for the switch over? Here's the thing. The switch over took place in Lebanon today. The people of that country woke up, and instead of their Starbucks coffee being $7, it lost 90% of its currency value, so you're paying $14, nearly double. Instead of $7, your Starbucks woke latte is $14. If you want to go buy an ounce of silver, let's pull up the silver chart, by the way. Let's pull up the silver chart. $23 is the price that we're trading at right now. 23. So yesterday you would have bought an ounce of silver for $23. today you wake up to 90% currency devaluation, you're going to buy that same silver at nearly 45, 50 bucks. This is going to cost you, obviously when you go to the dealer, you're going to pay a little bit over spot, right? And, this 10 ounces right here would have cost you about 230 bucks, 240 bucks yesterday, right? You do the math, almost 450, 500 bucks today for that same 10 ounce bar. I mean, can it get any more clear? $7 woke Starbucks latte. Yesterday, $7, today, 14 bucks. Ounce of silver. Yesterday, 23 bucks, today, 50. Yesterday, 10 ounces, 230, 250, whatever the premium is. Today, 500 bucks. Your iPhone, your little iPhone. Yesterday, 1,000 bucks. Today, 2,000 bucks. What are you investing in? Okay, so I'm stacking precious metals, specifically silver, and then I'm investing in some fundamental cryptocurrencies that have real utility. XRP, XLM, XDC are a few of the cryptocurrencies that I hold. And then right now I've put cash on the sidelines to buy my first real estate property. Okay? That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm investing in, along with my business. I put most of my time all my time is exclusively in my businesses working, and then other than that, I just spend time with family. That's the only other thing that's going to pull me away from this hustle right here is I go spend time with my family. I don't believe in the $7 latte is not your problem. I'm saying it. I mean, it's nonsense. Nobody should be paying $7 for a latte. That is nonsense. But that's not the problem. For most people, the problem is income. We're not making enough. Because, I mean, what are you going to do, right? Is your coffee addiction the problem when you wake up tomorrow and your currency's been devalued 90%? You got a lot to make up for if your currency's getting devalued by 90% overnight, which is what Lebanon woke up to today, guys. Argentina already at 100% inflation. So this isn't just some one-off story in Lebanon, guys. And this will come home. It is coming home right now. It's just that the US dollar has been the cleanest shirt in the closet. But if the house is the global economy, the house is on fire, and the cleanest shirt in the closet is the US dollar. But the whole damn thing is burning down. Can you guys visualize that? And it doesn't get any more clear. Yesterday, you paid $7 for your woke. You see the symbolism for your woke Starbucks latte was $7 yesterday. Today it was 14. Yesterday, you went to your silver dealer. You bought 1 ounce of silver for 25 bucks. Today, it's 50 bucks. To your 10 ounce bar, you got a little 10 ouncer. Yesterday, 250 bucks. Today, 500 bucks. You went to go buy your iPhone. It was $1,000 yesterday. Today, it's $2,000. You went to go fill up your gas tank yesterday. It was 50 bucks. Today, it's 100 bucks. Guys, we got to have a plan right now. The retirement accounts, the 401k program is going bust, and it's a broken model. And you will never be an insider investing in, as we just covered, Tesla. The Tesla bros, the Elon Musk fanboys are not insiders, right? And I'm not saying that guys aren't going to make some money on Tesla. Guys made plenty of money on Tesla, for sure. For sure. And I'm bullish on Elon too. Elon's a beast. He's not even human. The way that Elon operates, he's not even human. Right? I'm bullish on him. Yeah. Is he a good guy? Well, that's a different conversation. I'm not here to talk about whether Elon's a good guy or not. But once again, I'm not going to invest if I don't see a thing here. And, with these digital assets, it's not so much that we're an insider. We're just early. This is a new, industrial revolution. Fourth industrial revolution is what we call this. We're not insiders. We're just early. And we actually took the time to do our research. See, it was hidden in plain sight this whole time. You can go read the market reports from Ripple that just came out. The Q4 markets report from last year tells you that in 2022, Ripple purchased $8 billion worth of XRP, and then they turned around and they sold $9.2 billion worth of XRP to their banks and financial institutional partners. And 60% of the transactions on RippleNet, the banks and the financial institutions, and remember, all the haters tell us, right, that all these banks and financial institutions that are partnered up with Ripple, they're using Ripple tech, but they're not using XRP. Oh, the dumbass XRP army doesn't even get that they don't need XRP. Wrong. They don't read the market reports, but we do. And what did they tell us? See, Brad Garlinghouse went to Davos, World Economic Forum, and he told us in front of the world that 50% of the transactions with RippleNet are going through XRP on-demand liquidity. But then if you go, he actually understated. The true number is 60% of the transactions on RippleNet are now going through on-demand liquidity, which is XRP. So let me make this simple for you guys. Ripple isn't doing just consultation partnerships with these central banks. Last night's live show, I covered how the Central Bank of Montenegro has now partnered up with XRP for a digital dollar project as well. So another central bank partnership with Ripple. But they're not just doing consultations. They're not just showing up for photo ops. They're actually getting these guys to build their CBDCs on the XRP ledger, and now with their RippleNet clients. So you get them on board with RippleNet that doesn't use XRP, right? It's just a technology solution, fiat to fiat transfers, right? But you can save so much. You become so much more efficient. You unlock all this dormant capital, which is about $30 trillion that banks are holding just so that they can do trade with each other. They don't trust each other unless you got a couple trillion and I got a couple trillion, right? And so we have 30 trillion tied up, sitting dormant, that gets unlocked when you start to use XRP on-demand liquidity. And so they got them on board with RippleNet, and now 60% of the transactions on RippleNet are going through XRP. So like I said, for me, the reason why I haven't gotten into stocks is because you're not an insider. If it's already become a public company, all the insiders are the ones that are going to make the real money, right? And Wall Street wants you to just take your money and sit and park it. 60-40 portfolio. I got a new mutual fund. This is a really well-rounded mutual fund. You're going to get exposure to 100 different businesses and sectors, and you and millions of other people. You're standing in line with millions of people that are all getting ushered into the same opportunity. So for me, I pass. I pass on stocks. I pass on index funds. I pass on mutual funds. I don't want to do stocks. The only moves that I'm going to be making is once I become an accredited investor, then you're allowed to invest pre-IPO. You're able to do private placement deals. And that's what I'm going to be doing. When I go in and I'm going to get some stocks, it's going to be before we go public and I'm buying with everybody else on the public market. That to me is the only opportunity. As far as how am I going to get the biggest return, it's going to be within my own businesses that I have control of, that I run, that I know I can get a return on my money, right? And then it's going to be on new technologies like cryptocurrency digital assets, which, yeah, they're already public, but when we understand how much more money is going to flow into this new technology, we're early, just like we were with the tech bubble. And you can see what took place there. And you can see what happened in tech too. There were only a few tech companies that made it. I appreciate you guys. If you guys need to buy cryptocurrencies, precious metals, you need to get wallets to store your cryptocurrency. Everything is over at my website, the link in my bio. You can find wallets for buying XRP, XLM, XDC. You can get wallets to store your XRP, your XDC on the EliPal Titan wallet. We got the link on over at my website. And if you need precious metals, and if you need to roll over your 401k retirement account to precious metals, it's all over at my website. Okay? It's all over at my website. Just let me know. Just send me a message. Hey, I need precious metals. Or I have the link. It says gold. Hit that link. Get in touch with my people. They'll hook you up. Especially for those of you with retirement accounts, because you're not going to have to take a penalty. You guys got $1 million in your 401k retirement account. And you're seeing what took place last year. You can roll it on over to precious metals without having to take a penalty. There you go. Castell, I need to roll that 401k. If that's you, get in touch. You can head on over to my website, the gold link. You enter your information and they will help you with your 401k. They will help you roll it on over. Absolutely. And if you are going to do it, get the process started because it takes some time. And so I want you guys to be able to protect your wealth before we continue back down to the downside. I don't think that we're done. And so, the longer that you wait, the more risk that you have exposed to this old system that's burning down to the ground. Record losses by central banks, sovereign wealth funds, and the Wall Street boys and girls are still pitching you the same bullshit. And I'm not here to be your financial advisor, but let's call a spade a spade. It was the worst year ever for bonds. And you guys are still recommending a well-diversified portfolio of stocks, bonds, and mutual funds? 60-40 works well? Worst year ever, bro. What are you talking about? 60% into equities? Well, third worst year ever for the 60-40 portfolio. Can I move that over? Yes, you can move over your 401k retirement account with my precious metals dealer. That's why I partnered up with them. So I don't do sponsorships. I don't do promotions. The only way that I get support is by you guys subscribing, you guys sharing my message, and then you guys can also join our Patreon Discord group if you want to get tapped in on that level. But then I do have some affiliate links. And so these are just reputable sources, exchanges that I've used for buying my digital assets. And then this gold and silver dealer that I partnered up with, they will allow you to roll over your 401k retirement account, which is something that I was very interested in when I heard about this opportunity, because I keep on talking to people when I have one-on-one sessions with people in my Discord group, and when I do my weekly call every Saturday in the Discord group, and we're talking about what's happening, and these people are just telling me, guys, I mean, I know you guys got bags in your 401ks and your retirement accounts. I don't. You guys got $1 million in your 401k. You guys got 100,000 in a retirement account. Even if you guys got 10,000 in a retirement account, right? And you're just getting started. I am not falling for this bullshit story that the Wall Street shills are going to give you guys. When you go into, no matter who it is, any financial advisor that you're going to tell you, I'm not falling for it. I'm not interested in it. Even if it is going to work out and you're going to get a return of 6% on the year, I'm not interested in 6% on my money. See, that's why we invest in precious metals, because precious metals are a hedge. They're an insurance policy. They're going to hold their value. We might not get sick gains, bro, like we do in the cryptocurrency space, but I invest in precious metals, and I just keep stacking cash on the sidelines so that I have liquidity, so that I can pounce on opportunities and be offensive. I can go on offense and I can take risk. And I can go try to not get 6%, but I can try to go get 6,000% on some digital assets, 600% on some digital assets. I need to contact you for my retirement account. The link in my bio, guys, is how you can get in touch with me. And so if you got a retirement account, 401k, it sounds like you're already in there and this would work for you. Just go to my website and then there's a gold link. Fill out the form and then my people will get in touch with you. Or if you just have questions, guys, and you want resources, where do I go, Zach? Where do I learn more? Go to my website, send me a message on there and ask your question. Let me know how I can help you and I'll guide you in the right way. Like I said, I'm not here to be a financial advisor. I just share the resources that I'm using to get me a better understanding of this situation. And then I'm also sharing with you guys how I'm navigating, where I see the biggest opportunities. And as someone who's 28 years old, just getting started with building generational wealth, I'm showing you guys how I'm investing in all of the asset classes, whether that's real estate, precious metals, crypto. I'm skipping stocks. You guys know that. I explained that. And then I do have cash on the sidelines so that I can buy my first real estate property, but I don't see enough blood in the streets yet. I don't see enough pain. I would love for the Fed to actually raise the interest rates even higher a couple more times, because I would like to see this market get cleaned out further. But once again, our opportunity comes comes in a turbulent situation, and what pains me is seeing people's 401ks getting wiped out because you guys worked so long to stack up those retirement accounts, right? You can't afford to take, losses on these retirement accounts because this is how you're going to live your last days on this earth. Where's the best place to buy precious metals? Just go link in bio and send me that message. Send me that message and I'll hook you up. Send me that message. Link in bio. Where's the best place to buy precious metals? I'll hook you up. So once again, let's go through this exercise. I titled this video Overnight Reset Confirmed. And originally, us in the XRP community were talking about the overnight reset, the set price. And the XRP was going to be set at $589. And we're doing riddles, we're doing decodes and moon dates and having fun and making memes. This isn't about memes anymore. What we have right now is an overnight reset that's taking place, but it's going the other way. Instead of talking about XRP being set at $589 tomorrow, we're talking about your currency getting devalued by 90% overnight, which is what took place in Lebanon. Central Bank of Lebanon decided to devalue the currency by 90% on February 1st. I covered it in last night's show, and here we are today. Your currency's devalued 90%. So yesterday, you went, because you're really woke, you went to Starbucks and you bought a $7 latte. Today, that $7 latte is going to cost you about $14. I'm rounding up to about 100% just for ease of numbers and mental math. Yesterday, your Starbucks latte was $7. And now you can tip. Now Starbucks gives you the option to tip, which I always tip. So you give them $2 too. $7 plus your $2 tip, that's a $9 Starbucks latte. Well, tomorrow you pull up and your currency's been devalued by almost 100%, 90% in the case of Lebanon. That same coffee is going to cost you $14. And now you're going to be struggling, so you're going to have to tip $1 instead of $2 because you're freaking out. And you say, hey, I'm still a tipper. I'm still going to do the right thing, but I can only afford to give $1 tip instead of a $2 tip. And so you pay $14 for the latte, and then you give them $1 tip. You're at $15. But you're woke. Remember, you live in a 15-minute city. Kina has over a 100% inflation right now, guys. So yeah, this is taking place in real time. But remember, you're woke. You get your UBI check. You use CBDC. You're completely surveilled, right? You leave your coffin apartment to go downstairs to buy your Starbucks in your 15-minute city, and you're a good citizen. And so yesterday the coffee was $7. Today it's $14. Yesterday your ounce of silver, you paid the premium. Your ounce of silver was $25. Today it's $50. Then you go and you bought a 10-ounce bar of silver, and yesterday it was $250. Today it's $500. Then, because you got to show your friends how cool you are, you go buy an iPhone for $1,000 yesterday. Today that same iPhone's $2,000. Then your grocery bill right now is $100 a week. Well, next week it's going to be $200 per week. That is reality right now. That is an overnight reset confirmed, 100% taking place. It hasn't happened in the United States yet. We're still having fun. We're still woke. We're going to ride our bike to work today, and we're going to sell off our car. And we're not going to have children. We're not going to make love to our wife or believe in a God or have any sense of purpose or values in our life. And we're going to give up meat too. 100%. 100%. I'm trying to think of what else we can do to be good citizens, to earn extra UBI credits, to earn extra CBDC credits. What else can we do, guys? Why is your math wrong, bro? Don't focus on the math. We're rounding up. We're rounding up. Yesterday, $7. Today, $14. Yesterday, $25. Today, $50. Yesterday, $250. Today, $500. Round up. Meat is terrible for humans. See what I mean, guys? See what I mean? There you go. Be a good citizen. Help the planet. What's my business? FOMC meeting today, absolutely. We're going to be watching that closely. Opinion about interest rate, new level. I would like to see them raised by another 50 basis points. I'd like another 0.5%. I mean, really what I would like is for the Federal Reserve to be abolished and go away. Yeah, that's what I would really love. The Federal Reserve has no business setting interest rates, and the free market should set the interest rates. The Fed shouldn't be involved in it at all, and the Fed should also not be in control of our monetary policy of our country as well. But that is the perfect world, which is not what we live in. What do you think of carbon credits? It's real. Carbon credits, as they're being sold right now, are a scam, though. So there's a lot of companies that are selling carbon credits, and basically these companies are buying the carbon credits to make up for all of the damage that they're doing, right? And for tax write-offs and for scam purposes. I mean, it's a scam. As it's being marketed and pitched now, it's a scam. But carbon credits is real. They're going to track everything, 100%. I'm not on the left, but seriously, do some due diligence on meat consumption. No, I understand. And I'm just making fun of it. I'm just making fun. I understand. I understand the work of Dr. Sebi and others and these guys that say that you shouldn't eat any meat and it should be all vegetables and fruits. And I get that. Yeah, I get it. I get it. I'm an American who loves my greasy burgers. I love a fat steak. I do still eat eggs. I do like an adult beverage. I do things that aren't good for my body, and I guess aren't good for being woke. I'm not going to get a UBI check, guys. I'm not going to get a UBI check because I'm a bad guy. I can't even speak. I've been speaking too much on it today. What cryptos do I like? So if you're new here, just make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit the follow. Make sure you hit the plus, guys. And then you can also subscribe to my YouTube channel. But I'm big on fundamental utility projects like XRP, XLM, XDC, and a couple others kind of interest me a little bit. But as of the time of this recording, I only hold XRP, XLM, XDC, Reaper coin, Casino coin. What other crap do I hold? I think that's about, I really don't hold much, guys. I really don't. I requested because you're spreading so much FUD. Oh my gosh, guys. What should we do? Should we bring up Dark Horse? I'm spreading FUD now. Oh boy. You forgot the red folder? Well, the red folder is important. Where is my red folder? The red folder is important. See, the red folder contains important research that we've been doing. Proposed terms for the purchase of XRP tokens from participating token holders. So last night I shared a clip of Jimmy Valley talking about this and why these banks and financial institutions would need to write up the value of their assets if they held XRP, if they were going to use XRP, right? They could use XRP in a way to write up the value of that asset to cover the liabilities that they have. I would frame it, hang it behind me. Well, so this is what the red folder, what does this symbolize to me? Do your own research. Get your own red folder. Get your own plain vanilla folder. A blue folder, green, pink. Get a pink folder. Well, I don't care what color your folder is, but get yourself a folder and start, maybe let's save the planet. Maybe we shouldn't print off the documents. I like to print off the documents so that I can kind of read it, work with it, highlight it. And I'm not a computer bro. I'm not a computer bro. And so I like to print it off. I'll go buy some carbon credits. Don't worry, guys. I print off my documents that I have here in my red folder. I print these out. Don't worry. I'm going to go buy carbon credits to make up for that. But the point for me, what this symbolizes is do your own research, get your own documents, and if you want to save the planet and not print it out, that's fine. Keep it all on your computer. But we all need to be doing our own research. We all need to understand not just cryptocurrency, digital assets, all of these asset classes, the currency crisis, the sovereign debt crisis. I was kidding. Kelly, I'm not kidding. This is a symbolism for do your own research. I'm not interested in 50K. I'm interested in the 513,000 from your partners. Okay, whatever. What the hell? Let's bring up some guests. Feel free to join, guys. We can bring up. I see we got a few other guys. Feel free to hop up here or whatever. We'll let these TikTok bros hop up in here. Oh boy, here we go. Here we go.
Zach, I got two questions. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Zach?
I can hear you.
Okay, so the first question.
Mic, guys, so sorry if my sound's not as clear, but I got to plug in my phone. There we go.
First question. What's the main advice that you give to people when trading on green candles?
Well, I don't buy green candles.
Right. So if you don't buy green candles, why would people want to buy gold on a green candle?
Well, I don't give anyone advice. I don't give anyone financial advice.
Okay, so we're saying to people, buy gold, buy silver, change from your fiat currency to precious metals, but you're telling people to buy gold at its all-time high.
Yeah, well, what we see here is the central banks are buying a record amount of gold. So that's all I'm reporting, right? I'm just reporting the facts, which I learned a lot this last weekend at the Vancouver Resource Investment Conference about how silver is being used as well. So the central banks are buying a record amount of gold, and then we're seeing the industrial use of silver is eating up all the above ground supply. So that's all I'm sharing, and that I'm buying silver. I'm not here to tell anybody what to do with their portfolio or give them financial advice, just to be clear.
But we also know, because there's a latest report that's just handed out, that the US have just literally invested $20 billion into gold, which has caused this massive spike in the gold prices. But you're asking people to swap the 401ks and everything else, their pension plans, into something that's currently on a big ass green candle.
I'm not asking opportunity for them to. I'm not asking anybody to. Nobody has to use my affiliates or do anything. I don't do anything based off of what I'm talking about. Do your own research, right? Get your own red folder.
Yeah, and my last question here is why are we talking about the 90% drop in the devaluation of the currency that you're talking about, and now assuming that the dollar is going to also devalue at 90%? Why are we making that drastic leap between one and the other?
Well, here's the thing: is the true inflation is probably double what the CPI lie is. The CPI lie is just that; it's a made up, phony number, and so real inflation's double. And at one point, what did the highest point we got the inflation up to in this country was 8-9%. In the UK, where you're at, it's 10%. And yep. So it is happening here. It's just we're the cleanest shirt in the closet. Like I said, for the analogy that I described, the cleanest shirt in the closet is still the United States dollar. But the whole house, as the global economy, is on fire. So the whole house is on fire. All fiat currencies are dying out. All countries are in a sovereign debt crisis and a liquidity crisis. And the cleanest shirt here is still the US dollar. So that's all that's taking place right now.
We've been in this situation before, though, Zach, right? World War II, the UK was nearly bankrupt. I mean, we were nearly bankrupt. We took our actual pound off the sterling silver, we devalued it a tiny bit, but we took it off. But the thing is that we've been in this situation before, and we've come back, and fiat currencies become stronger, they become weak, they become stronger, and they become weak. It's a cycle. Why are we flooding? Why are we flooding the hell out of the actual dollar at the moment, based on cryptocurrency takeovers like XRP becoming the reserve currency? Where's the big leap coming from here?
Well, I would ask the question, why are central banks buying a record amount of gold, more gold than they've bought in 55 years since the last time a currency reset took place, which was the dollar coming off of the gold standard? So I would
Yeah.
ask that question. Why is that happening?
But then why are we actually telling people that the dollar is going to die so quickly? I mean, what is the need for actually creating FUD around the dollar so much that it's going to be the thing that goes down the toilet?
I mean,
I mean,
if people want to go pro dollar, that's fine. For me, I look at it like a business. You look at the financial statement of the United States; it's $30 trillion in debt with over $150 trillion unfunded liabilities, and basically, with the current interest rates this year, about 20% of the income, the taxes that the United States collects, about 20% of that is going to have to go towards the interest on the debt, not even on the principal, on the interest. So if that's a business investment that you believe in, that you think that's solid, good luck, God bless.
Well,
so
well,
then
the value. Go ahead.
go for it, Boston. No,
I
no,
was
no,
just
go for it, Boston.
I was going to say the value of the dollar and all fiats is, in the case of the United States, though, it's based on the full faith and credit of the United States and its economy, and that's where the value of the dollar comes from. That has been to this point, why the U.S. dollar has served as the world's bridge currency or world's reserve currency, but now I think we are indeed in a place where there is no longer that full faith and the credit of the United States. I think maybe Zach's pointing out a few things that are true about the dollar. Now, I agree with you, Dark Horse, that I don't know that we need to like FUD on the dollar. I think that this thing is going to take its own course. And there are people, it seems to me, those people being the ones who run BIS and the Swiss banking system. And those people, they're operating according to a project plan that seems to include the diminishment of the US dollar and the diminishment of the United States in its current role in the world in terms of this sort of monetary leadership.
Actual
And
dollar, yeah.
yeah, but on the other hand, what we see happening is the introduction of digital currencies, right? So that means CBDCs in the case. So a United States digital dollar to replace fiat, and there seems to maybe be, gold backing involved. You hear about this sometimes, not always, but sometimes, and it's not totally clear yet what's going to happen. But so then this idea about, well, why buy gold at all-time highs? Well, if that there's this word out there that perhaps the digital currencies will be in part or in whole backed by gold, that if it's true and it happens, then speculators might begin to buy gold because it might become a lot more valuable. Yes, exceeding all-time highs for sure. But so those are just my thoughts to what reactions to what I'm hearing so far. I think both you guys are on like are in the same ballpark on like we're all pointing to what's happening here and like what's our read, and it seems to me that Zach has a kind of an American perspective on it, and Dark Horse you have more of a global perspective on it, and but I think all in all, it's like we're all in the same ballpark and the same kind of conversation. Like there are big changes happening to the monetary system, and we're all trying to read the tea leaves on what does that look like. And I know and in that conversation, XRP as the bridge currency for everything, to me, seems unlikely. I think there's a handful of these currencies out there, these DEXs out there. They're all probably going to like carry their own portion of the water, and there's probably going to be DEXs that are not publicly accessible.
But Boston,
Yeah.
we already know that that's actually happening, right? We already know
Yep.
that the XRP is not going to be the Federal Reserve currency or the world reserve currency. We already know that. So going around pushing that narrative on people like what Zach is doing here with the full, it's not UDPN. UDPN is a DLT that's going to be run by central banks. You've got a new one that was highlighted yesterday that was called HQLAX. That's going to be using the R3 corridor. I mean, that's another DLT. You've got Homeland Security that's using a DLT on their own. They've got all these DLTs that aren't actually XRP. So,
yeah, Dark Horse, I want to go back and we got to clarify this because I think that it's wrong to call what I am saying, my message here in today's show, my spiel, FUD on
But
the dollar.
it is
It's because FUD is fear, uncertainty, and doubt.
100%.
What we're talking about is facts, which is right. This
You can't.
country devalued their
You're
currency by
literally holding a Starbucks up, telling everybody it's going to go up 90%. You was holding an Apple iPhone saying that's going up 90%. That's not facts. That's just your interpretation of a devaluation of the US dollar at 90%.
well, that's the case in Lebanon today. They woke up and
Zach, where was your video and live when Syria went 90% devaluation a month ago? There's a lot of these currencies at the moment they're devaluing by a shitload, and it's not all based on the US dollar. And if you think about the fact that the rest of the world, like Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, they all use the dollar, do you really think they're going to devalue 90%? Because that's going to take out 3 other countries, not just yourself. I like Boston says, I'm thinking global. You're thinking internal.
no,
There's no ability for a 90%.
no, because I'm seeing what's happening in these other countries, and I'm trying to warn Americans that this is coming here. We're still having a good time in the United States. We're still having the barbecue and having a good time, while these other countries are in flames, riots in the streets, retirements, pension accounts wiped out. The sovereign wealth fund in Norway lost $164 billion last year. Central banks reporting record losses. And then today we wake up, Lebanon decides to devalue their currency by 90%. Argentina, over 100% inflation. Syria, sorry that I missed that. Can't catch them all. They're happening so quickly, right? But what are they doing? They are buying a record amount of gold, more gold than they've bought in 55 years. So I'm just stating the facts. That's not FUD. That's clarity. It's not fear, uncertainty, and doubt if you're providing facts and clarity on what's happening. That's not FUD.
No, you're right. Those are facts that you just stated. But what's actually happening with the US isn't, though. And telling people that in the future, iPhone's going to be 2,000, coffees are going to be like £8. And it's, I'm going to put this, mate, I agree with you. Telling people that everything out there is going to shit, 100% it is going to shit right now. But the actual, the FUD that is actually happening in this live today, you was basically saying, everybody get out the dollar, go get gold. And then I was like saying to you, would you actually trade on a green candle?
Whoa. But you have to, what do I tell everybody? I got cash. I got cash. While I'm talking about the dollar, I still have cash. You still need cash. You still need liquidity. So I'm not telling anybody to FUD or do anything out of the dollar. And, you know, that's the thing is that the dollar has already lost 99% of its value since the Federal Reserve was incepted. So the 90% devaluation has already occurred. That's not up for debate. It's already happened. And in what world are we living in? I mean, my grandfather, my grandparents, my great-grandparents that fought in World War II would throw up in disgust if they knew that I bought a $7 latte today. Right? So we're already living in a crazy, inflated world. We've been used to this. Buying a $7 latte, that's the woke thing to do, the cool thing to do.
If you haven't been living in this world, I mean, everybody knows old people used to say, I used to be able to buy a loaf of bread, bag of sweets, and all of that for one shilling or £1 or $1. I mean, everybody knows that the price of things, it goes up as time goes on. Inflation is just normal. That is just what things go on. And yeah, you're right, but that's your choice to buy an extravagant coffee, though, isn't it? Yeah, it's your choice. It's your choice to buy at this sort of price,
But here, I use it as a joke, but here's the thing. I don't have a choice whether to feed my family this month or not. It has to be done. And so if you applied it to the grocery bill, last week your grocery bill was $100. This week it's going to be $200 in Lebanon. That's reality. That's not FUD. That's getting people prepared for what's coming, because it can happen here too. All fiat currencies eventually go to zero. So that's simple history, right?
Yeah. So guys, I think it's chat. All I'm going to say to you is do your own research on this information. And if you're going to buy into gold, always go look at the graphs, the charts, and look at the price of gold and how it's actually gone up in the last few years. And also see what's actually causing that price to go up. Every single country around the world right now is buying gold to be able to stabilize their own currencies against gold, hence the price inflation of gold. Now, if you go and actually start buying it yourself, what's going to happen once once all the countries have got all the gold that they need to stabilize their money against it? What's going to happen to the price of gold then? Is it going to devalue? It's going to come down? Just do your research on this. Now, that's all I'm saying to you. Don't just instantly jump into massive green candles, because everybody knows in crypto, everybody knows when you're looking at a green candle, you're already late to the game. You're already late. You're already late. You don't FOMO in. You take the chance. You just hold back and wait for it to correct itself. Then you buy on the red candle as it's going down. That is the ultimate trading advice that everybody around the world
Well,
actually
I'm not
says.
giving advice. That's the thing, is I'm not telling people to trade gold or silver. I'm saying pick up a fundamental position to store wealth, to preserve wealth. It's meant to preserve wealth. It's not meant to get sick crypto gains and be a trade.
So one thing I want to jump in here and say is I see a lot of comments sort of like bashing Dark Horse's perspective. And I
It's
really
okay.
want to.
It comes to standard being his Zach's lives, buddy.
I just want to say though, everybody who is in that mindset about Dark Horse, like Dark Horse has no horse in the game, so to speak. Like he's not selling anything. He's not like, and the reason I'm like defending Dark Horse is just because he's a friend of mine, right? But and I know where his heart is, and he's only trying to prevent people from saying, let's say you're out there and you're a single mother and you're frantic because you're now scared that CBDCs are coming. You don't know what that means, and you hear and somebody tells you, oh, better buy this or that. And that woman goes and like puts everything she has into that thing that you said. And I think Dark Horse is just trying to like reinforce the perspective that don't make any of these big investment decisions, especially where they're very expensive, like when you're suddenly trying to build wealth rashly. And sometimes like, Zach the Red Folder around Christmas time, and I know you've heard this before, but that caused a lot of people to jump in XRP. And maybe with a hindsight, that'll end up being the best thing they ever did, or maybe not. And that maybe not is the part that, I think Dark Horse is just trying to help people to understand, because a lot of people aren't very sophisticated in their way they think about investments. And so when you get a brand new person who's really not, doesn't really understand this very much, and then you go walk around talking about 50 grand, and they pour everything they have into it, and then the kids don't eat that month, and maybe they end up going bankrupt because of the snowball effect. I just want everybody to understand, that's the perspective that's the counterpoint that Dark Horse is bringing to the discussion. I think it's a valuable and important one. So I just want to clarify.
Hey, Jamie.
So basically, I ruined Christmas, and now I'm going to ruin
XRP.
No,
Jamie,
I'm not saying
XRP,
that.
excellent.
That's the other side of the argument, right? It could be. Maybe you did, and maybe it works out that way. If XRP goes to zero, maybe so, right?
Zach, you laugh, right? You laugh. And Jamie, XRP, XLM. Why does DH care, right? I get DMs, right, of people that have bought into XRP. They even admit themselves they've been stupid. They've remortgaged, took out loans, bought XRP. You think I don't laugh at this, right? And they're sitting there and they remortgaged their houses, took out 100 grand, bought into XRP, and they're sitting there and they're watching it go. And then they've got the mortgage payments that they've now got to add to, and the inflation's just come up. And yeah, I get these DMs, Zach. I get them because they're actually talking to me, because I talk to them about realistic price expectations and everything else. And I try and talk to them about the market. I get them DMs, and I'm like, why did you get into this? And it's because of the same reason why quite a lot of us did. We FOMO'd in. And we listen to this shit, which is why I am like this, which is why I do actually do this for free. It's because they do their own research, but name one person that hasn't actually FOMO'd into a project based on somebody else is saying so.
Yeah, I mean, guys, I'll be honest. I really just don't like you guys coming at me saying that I'm getting people to FOMO and do anything. And, I'm sharing the news, the current events, and how I'm positioned for the greatest transfer of wealth in world history in a very transparent way. I don't do any promotions or shill any projects. And so you guys want to attack me based off of somebody being stupid with their money. That's not me. I can't stop people from being stupid with their money. There's a bunch of people.
To be clear, I'm not attacking you. I'm just calling out. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I'm just saying I'm not attacking you at all. And actually, I like your videos. I watch you all the time.
Yeah, me too.
But I'm just saying, and I like you. I don't know you, but you seem like a nice guy. But I am saying that red folder thing, even though I know you were sincere in what you were putting out there, and it might end up in that net helping people if it's the right call. We don't know if it's the right call yet. No one does, right? So that's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I understand that.
Kevin, unfortunately, there are loads of people out there. There are loads of people out there that are stupid, that do make bad decisions, rash decisions. Yeah, you are correct. The thing is that we don't understand the influence we've got on videos on YouTube and everything else. But anyway, Zach, it's not an attack, mate. It's the fact that when you're actually saying up here, like, because of this has been devalued 90%, this has been devalued 90%, and then it's constant attack on the dollar. That's all I keep hearing all over the place is attack on the dollar. You guys haven't put yourself into an austerity measure yet. You guys haven't put yourself into an ability to not spend. Your governments have not taken the time to actually address the actual situation at the moment. They just keep spending. Right. If they keep spending, then they've got to actually go into the next plan, which is to start budgeting, start actually looking at how to save money, look at how they can actually make money. The whole dollar is not going to disappear tomorrow. There's not going to be a great reset.
I'm gonna say this though. You guys say that I'm getting a single mom to FOMO in to XRP, which I get. That's not exactly what you're saying.
I did say that. I didn't say
kind of. But the conversation I'm talking about was getting people prepared for the inflation that we saw over the last year, which was 20% plus inflation on anything that mattered. Protein for your family, your grocery bills, your energy bills, right? So getting people ready for that, was that FUD, or was that getting that single mom ready to pay more for her food? Ready to pay more on her bills, right? That's what I mean is the inflation that we've already had is killing people, financially wiping people out at just the CPI live went up to what, 8.9, 9.1%, I think was the high that we got to. If they did inflation the way that they did back in the 70s, the true inflation rate would be double probably where we're at. So that would be at 18%. So we're already at 20%. And we saw, what did eggs do, right? Eggs just went up 50%. That's inflation that's already taking people out before we get to the 90% overnight currency revaluation. Before I get to the FUD that I'm talking about, people are already getting squeezed out.
Wasn't there two like massive? Sorry, I'm just really struggling to hear you. Wasn't there like two massive fires at egg production plant?
Yes, there's been
all of these fires at food production processing plants might have something to do with the rising prices for these products, right? Not just inflation.
It impacts inflation and it makes it worse.
Well,
yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry, I interrupted. Go ahead.
No, go for it, Boston.
I was going to say, like,
one of you guys' mics is staticking crazy right now.
Okay, can you hear me? I'm not sure if it's mine or not, but
you're good.
It wasn't you, but
might have been Bakshi.
Okay, so so the dollar, right? The inflation is undeniable, like, and the amount that they're printing is insane. And it looks like, in my estimation, they're going crazy with these printers in a purposeful effort to blow the dollar up. But they've got this backup plan, which is the digital currency. So to me, it's just like one thing will feed into the next. Exactly what that looks like, I don't know. But I do think that like the U.S. dollar has had this prominent role in the world, and I think that the bankers that kind of run the entire system of central banking worldwide, I think they're just making shifts on how on sort of like the relative importance of the sovereign currency of the United States to others, and it's looking like, to me anyway, that these bridge currencies on these DEXs, I don't know which one they're going to settle on, but it'll be our XRP, XLM, XDC. I can't say for sure, maybe, or will it be a private one that we don't have access to? Whatever it is, they're going to come up with a bridge currency that'll just be, a fundamental part of whatever DEX is the primary system used by these central banks, and that'll be that. And then all the CBDCs will just be exchanged against that bridge currencies, and in time, that's what the world will look like. CBDCs will be digital sovereign currencies of all the various nations, but actually all centralized under the kind of banking world's purview. And whatever is the primary DEX for that purpose, that the bridge token for that DEX will be de facto the reserve currency of the world. So I bring all that up in the context of inflation to say I think the insane printing of the dollar and the utter devaluation of the dollar that's happening is all part of the plan to move towards this other system, this other approach to central banking worldwide.
Guys, I want to report this live. So the Fed has raised interest rates up another quarter percentage point. So up 25 basis points.
We've gone to
Quarter of
0.5.
There it is, the quarter. I thought they might go higher, but okay, at least it's only a quarter.
And this is the problem. That does not address inflation. That doesn't fix inflation. And to your point, Dark Horse, with all these other supply chain crises that we're still going through, it just amplifies the inflation. And so it's not that we're going to have an overnight reset here in the United States of 90% tomorrow or anytime soon. We're getting death by 1,000 cuts. And we're already at a level that is squeezing out a lot of people. You know, the inflation came back, the CPI lie that they just reported was 7.5%. If you believe in that, I got an igloo to sell you in Mexico. I mean, it's just unbelievable. The lies and the manipulation that go into the CPI data. Like I said, if you tracked it with the same way that they did back in the 70s, inflation would probably be about double. And so we're already at 20% inflation. Eggs go up 50%. Protein, your food staples have already gone up 20% plus in some cases. And
That's supply issues, though, isn't it? I'm sorry, but you're blaming the government on supply issues. And supply issues are one of the biggest concerns we've got around the world. The whole world is reeling at the moment with supply issues on quite a lot of produce. So price inflation is just based on rarity. So we understand the reason why inflation on food prices have gone up, because it's just not available as what it was before COVID. The supply shock has been a big factor in all of this. This isn't anything to do with the dollar. It's to do with actual supply.
no,
So
but it does
you
impact
can't really
inflation though,
go
because
for it.
it makes it harder for the Fed to fight inflation. They can't. The Fed can't fix the supply chain crisis, which makes that task that they have of bringing inflation back down that much more difficult. So that's the point.
It's also not out of the question that the demand side is one area that's being sort of worked on. Like we're seeing all kinds of things. I know in the United States where, for example, in food, they're paying farmers to stop growing crops, and they're doing things to intentionally reduce the food supply in the United States. So there's a demand side. There also was a while ago we heard a lot of sort of fear about the diesel supply chain. And that like in December, they were talking about, we're not going to have any diesel fuel. Any moment, we're going to be out of diesel fuel. That didn't come to pass, thankfully, or at least it hasn't yet. So I think they can work on the demand side at the same time that they work on the inflation side and create double or triple the chaos doing it. So I think that might also be kind of a part of the equation here too, possibly. Hey guys, I have to actually jump. So I want to thank you very much, Zach, for having me on. And it's good to see you, Dark Horse and Bakshi. And I'll catch you guys later.
Yeah. Thank you, Boston. Appreciate it. Bakshi, do you have something to say, man? I brought you up a while ago, but haven't called on you yet. All right.
He's muted. He might not realize he's still muted.
Bakshi, you're muted right now. Oh, your mic doesn't work? Okay. You just came up to hang out.
Zach, let's face it. When CBDCs come out, they're going to be moving you digital. They're going to be moving you to the digital dollar. Things are going to be run by the central banks. They're not going to be run by the commercial banks going forward. The supply issues are going to start actually tailing off. I mean, we had 2 years of COVID. The supply issues was terrible. We shut down half the things that we shouldn't have shut down. Now we're trying to get the world back up and running. Everybody's reeling from COVID. It took 2 years to get it sorted. It's going to take about 5 or 6 years to get back on plan. This whole the death of the world by the dollar, it just won't happen. There's too many countries that rely on America right now to actually keep them up. So the world will not let America just all of a sudden fail. So it won't be the death of the dollar at all.
Well, I think most countries are interested in saving themselves. And that's the thing, is that even if they're getting impacted, which they are, I understand, it is true that a lot of the debt is denominated in US dollars, which is why people still need dollars right now. They need cash flow in US dollars so that they can pay back their dollar denominated debt. But a lot of these countries are just ditching the dollar for trade. They don't care about being in the SWIFT system, and they're working on building their own reserve currencies. And so that's reality. And so as Americans, we do need to prepare for, on the global stage, our reserve currency, the power that we wielded being threatened. And I would argue that we've already lost quite a bit.
I mean, if you look at BRICS right now, even Germany is trying to join BRICS as a trading bloc. And if you have a look at BRICS as well, they're all turning into gold-backed currencies. They're all turning into gold-backed currencies. They're not killing the currencies off. They're not killing it all, resetting themselves, changing the debt, resetting themselves. They're just moving forward. They're evolving. That's what the US is doing as well. It's evolving. It's the next natural stage.
That's a nice way to look at it. What I see is streets on fire, food riots, gas shortages, war. Literally, there's a war being fought right now over this exact issue. And to say that this is just currencies evolving, I think is downplaying how serious the issue is.
Do you not think going back to a dollar backed by gold is an evolved state?
This isn't a peaceful transition is the point that I'm trying to make. No matter what they do, no matter what crypto it is, it's not going to be a peaceful transition, and I want people to be prepared. And historically, that is why gold and silver have always played a role. I'm not trying to get people to FOMO into silver. I'm trying to get people to understand this situation is not going to be a smooth transition to a new system, and that central banks are buying a record amount of gold. Maybe we should consider adding some too.
I'm going to send you a document, Zach. I'm going to send you a document. It's based on the amount of gold and how it's not going to be the actual, I'm going to say the bad guy of the actual situation, right? The thing is that the whole world is evolving, and we're having to move to this new state of currency. We're going to have to, because it's the way technology is, the way everything's going. But the whole idea of the death of the dollar, it's never going to happen. It can't happen. I don't understand the narrative. It boggles my brain to actually understand the narrative of the death of the dollar when you've got multiple countries that also utilize your dollar.
How do you explain the balance sheet and the cash flow statement of the United States government?
That's things that you guys need to actually take into account. You need to put in austerity measures. You need to balance your books. You need to stop spending. At the moment, you're in 2 wars. Name a country that's been able to keep its balance sheet correct while in a war. Never, ever in the history has anybody had a clean balance sheet while being in war. And you're in 2 wars. You're in the Ukraine war. You're spending money there. And you're also over in the Chinese Sea, aren't you? At the moment, with your fleet, your naval fleet, trying to protect Taiwan.
Yeah.
You're in war. And the first thing that always happens is you spend far too much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not arguing with that, and I wish that we would bring our troops home and not be involved in so much foreign, meddling. So I agree with that regard. But what politician is going to be able to run on a platform of cutting back Social Security or Medicare, or cutting back benefits, or actually implementing austerity, right? So this is the problem: is that I would agree that we've gone too far. America's too fat. We need to cut. But who's actually going to be able to get that done?
So now it's just down. So you agree that it's got to be cut. You agree that the spending's got to be there, but now it's just down to the government change that you require.
And we've been hijacked by a private group of central bankers that do not have the interest of the average middle-class American at hand. They don't care about us. So we've been hijacked. So is our military. That's not the American military. That's the bankers' military.
Guys in the chat, there's more to what you see in the US that you actually deal with in the world, right? You need to take a step out of what's going on with the dollar. And like Zach said earlier, the rest of the world is like on fire, right? So if the rest of the world is on fire, do you think it's going to be the death of the dollar? Do you think that if the rest of the world is on fire and everybody else's currencies are also going through the same thing, do you not think that everybody's going to have to kind of like tie in together and kind of work this shit out? Or do you think they're just going to let everything reset? I mean, how do you reckon debt is actually going to work? I need to. Do you know what? Some of your chat's amazing.
For me, I don't try to figure out exactly who's going to back their currency by gold or who's going to roll out what CBDC on what crypto. I look at what's the most probable outcomes. I can see that they're buying a record amount of gold. I can see that the most amount of central banks are working with Ripple, that there's multiple central bank digital currencies built on XRP. So I take those into my calculations of probabilities, and then I position myself accordingly. But I am not going to be able to, none of us are going to be able to figure out, what the rollover, what the reset, how it all actually gets done until it's already done. But we have to invest now. We have to protect our wealth now. And that's why I was talking about precious metals being a way to preserve your wealth. And then I talk about opportunities like XRP for being a way to grow, right? And build some wealth.
DH, between the lines, they're not telling us anything. You're right, they're not telling us anything, but the rest of the world is actually moving forward with CBDCs, and they've basically put all the money in their pockets still. That's not going to change. All the money, government money, central banks money, it's always going to be in their hands. It's never going to come to the crypto asset market. And with the gold itself, the gold is at an all-time high, and everyone keeps talking about the great reset of the value of gold. So when's that going to happen? When's the reset of gold going to happen?
So let's look at this though. Yeah, it's at an all-time high, and specifically against countries, like countries like the pound. It's at all-time high against the pound, against the Japanese yen, against these other currencies. Actually, it still hasn't reached all-time high against the dollar because, like you said, the dollar's been the cleanest shirt in the closet, right? But right now, what we're seeing is that it has broken to all-time high, but it still has a long ways to go. Like, think about this. Gold, I'm sure, was already at all-time high against the Lebanese pound yesterday. But then today, it's even at a higher price. It takes even more Lebanese pounds, basically double as many Lebanese pounds to buy that same ounce of gold as it did yesterday. So it's like the Bitcoin bros that, when Bitcoin went from 69K to 50K, and they're saying that the bottom is in and we can't go much that lower, and then we continue all the way down here to 15 grand. It's the same way that these currencies are being devalued. They've already been devalued quite a bit. Inflation's running rampant. But then yesterday compared to today, we just dropped another 90% of our value. So it's going to take you twice as much. Now, let me read this off. The Central Bank of Lebanon has announced it will further devalue its currency by 90% effective February 1st, 2023. A new official exchange rate of 15,000 pounds per USD previously was 1,500 Lebanese pounds to the USD. The perceived value of the Lebanese fiat is vanished overnight. So yesterday, it was 1,500 Lebanese pounds to get $1. Today, 15,000 pounds to get $1. So that shows you how much more gold or silver could move priced against these currencies. Because that's the thing, is you got to go compared to what? What's the price of gold compared to what? Right? Against the Japanese yen.
So what research have you actually done into the 90% drop? What is the main reason why the Lebanese value has gone down 90%? What has actually been done all I see is the big old headline going 90% drop. But what is the main factor of the reason for its drop?
It's because these countries can't cover their debt service. They can't pay back their debt. So they have to devalue their currency.
And that's just the 100% fact that the reason why they dropped 90% overnight.
That's the reason that I believe, and many other people. I mean, there might be some other reasons, but mostly that's what it is, because that's why I talk about it's the currency, debt, and liquidity crisis. And
that's what I'm saying, Zach. That's what I'm saying. You don't know. You don't know. You've literally come on a live after seeing a headline and saying it's gone down. I saw your video, and I was like, well, where was your video the other week when Syria did exactly the same thing with a 90% devaluation? The fact is that. Yeah, I mean, this is happening all over, right? But there's also other videos out there and information out there that are saying that quite a lot of these currencies are joining forces. Countries are joining forces with BRICS, and they're reassessing their actual currency values, and they're realigning to the gold-backed standards. And if you ask me, there seems to be a bigger planet motion with most of these currencies that are being devalued to actually join forces and actually ally with other countries and actually bring in their currency. So I think there's a bigger thing at play here than just the fact that there's debt owed.
Think about this, though. Do you think that the person in Lebanon that has to go pay twice as much for their groceries today is worried about the why? You know, does the why matter to them when it's going to cost them twice as much to fill up their gas tank or pay their groceries? You know, because we are over here thousands of miles away debating why they did it. And I'm telling you that the reason why they did it is because they can't cover their debt service. The government's a simple business. They collect taxes and they've promised liabilities more so than what they can pay. And that is why they have to do this. They devalue the currency 90% so they can pay back that debt, pay off those liabilities with cheaper dollars, with devalued dollars. That is why they did it and why many countries are doing it. It's because they are in a sovereign debt crisis. And that's why I call it the trifecta here: the currency, debt, liquidity crisis. And so you destroy the currency to cover the debt, right? You have a liquidity crisis, so you pump the currency, inject it, which further destroys the currency, which racks up more debt. And it's just a revolving cycle. And then, as history has shown us, what happens to all fiat currencies? They go to their intrinsic value, which is zero.
I'm actually reading it now. So withdrawals in Lebanese pounds were hard currencies accounts to a new official rate will suffer a de facto haircut of 75%.
Happening, someone just said Venezuela. I just watched a Vice documentary in Argentina where a currency dealer was moving $20,000 US per day in people that were trying to transact their Argentina pesos for US dollars because the central banks had stopped people's ability to withdraw money and their ability to transfer from the Argentine peso to the US dollar. So not only were the banks stopping people from getting their money out, but they were stopping people from being able to transfer over to US dollars. So you couldn't pull your money out and you can't transfer it to a different currency that's not being devalued by 90%.
So in 1997, they actually pegged Lebanon pegged their actual currency to the dollar to stop hyperinflation during a 15-year conflict. So they came out of war. They tried to back themselves into the US dollar. They tried to peg it against it, and they couldn't actually come out of that war with the inflation rates and everything else. So there's a whole synopsis here of the reason why there's been a devaluation. And again, war. No country's ever come out of a war without being in debt, a deficit, an issue. So again, I hear what you're saying. But it's about actually just looking into it and doing your research as to why these countries are suffering like this. How long they've been pegged, how long they've been held up, how long they've actually been kept up by the IMF. The IMF gave them a $3 billion stimulation package not so long ago, but it was being propped up and propped up. It's just now we can't afford to keep propping up these countries that have been in wars for so long. And every single war that we've got, every single country that's going down 90%, they've been in mass wars, Zach. Mm-hmm. So yeah. It was going to happen. We the West have been propping up these countries for so long that unfortunately the time's come because the West can't keep propping up these countries anymore. They've got to look after themselves. They've got to deal with themselves. So the 90% drops in all of these valuations has just been a stalled environment that's been held up by us taxpayers, us people that have been paying to our governments, and we've been giving them the money to be able to keep their currencies up. This was going to happen to their people. Their governments ran their currency incorrectly for years, especially during the wars that it suffered. But hey, we can keep on looking at the fact that the dollar's going to crash based on these guys. All these countries that you listed are all Eastern Europe, Eastern countries, aren't they? All been war-torn countries that have been propped up and propped up and propped up. But it's not got any. I'm going to put this. It's not got any sort of impact with you guys in the US. In actual fact, it's because you guys have stopped holding them up that it's caused this issue.
Well, it impacts us because our dollar temporarily pumps. So we think we're doing fine right now because they're burning over there. They're burning down to the ground. And so they come to safety, which is the United States dollar. So temporarily, we still get to live good. We still get to have the reserve currency status. But when they are doing resets, and we're starting to see the resets taking place now, what are they doing? They're out of the SWIFT system. They're doing partnerships with BRICS, working on new reserve currency. And so that's the point, is that the average person in Lebanon right now doesn't know what the IMF is. And they don't understand this situation. They don't understand that their country was sold out and that they did bad deals with the IMF, and the United States, did this and that. And whoever gets blamed is not what's crossing, not what the person on the street is thinking about in Lebanon that's trying to scrape by and figure out how to feed themselves today. That's the point. And I think that this is spreading. And so will our situation get as bad as some of these other countries? Probably not. We got a lot going for us over here. We're very fortunate in that regard. But I would want to cover us even from the damage that's being done. And even if we don't go this far, there's still going to be significant damage being done. I mean, there already is. The data tells us that. So that's the point that I'm making. I mean, we can get into why the United States is bad and why this government did a bad deal with the IMF. The person on the street's just trying to scrape by. Where do I get food today?
Laurie, Zach's not waking me up, to be honest with you. I understand what's going on with the actual drops in the currencies themselves around the world. It's just every time I seem to come onto these lives and everyone's talking about the death of the dollar, it just seems to be doom and gloom for the US. Everything's going to just come crashing down. You guys need to save yourselves, buy gold, buy silver, get out of the matrix, all of this crap. And the thing is that it's fair enough if that's the context in which you want to live your life and the fear that something's going to happen. The fact is the government can't drop the dollar. There's nobody out there that can actually cover the Western world. We need the US. I keep saying this on every single live I go to. The rest of the world needs the US. You guys are the police of the world. You guys are basically the front runners of the world. So when it comes down to your actual currency,
the best country in the world?
I didn't say best. I didn't say best. I said you're the police and the front runners.
Okay.
So you guys put yourself in that situation. You guys put yourselves out there to be the front runners of the actual armies themselves, right? So the rest of the world relies on this, and when they see you guys actually suffering, just like it's like in the past experiences, we will end up coming back to aid you.
I know, but what do you want us to do? Because you're hating on us for, talking about how the dollar is being destroyed and what's taking place. But then and you're lecturing us about our foreign affairs and our meddling in all these countries and how bad we are and how we won't do austerity cuts. So what is it? Because I'm one that I want cuts. I want him to raise the interest rates higher. Get us back. We got to fight inflation, right? I want to bring our troops back home, right? And so it's not doom and gloom.
So how do you fix the issue? Let's pretend cryptocurrencies don't exist, Zach.
Well, that's how you fix the issue, is an XRP buyback at 50K.
Forget you've got XRP in the back pocket, and forget that you've got all these so-called Jimmy Valhill banks and all of this, right? Let's pretend the rest of the world. I mean, you even said it yourself. You went to an investors conference, and 99% of those investors themselves don't believe in crypto assets. They don't even know about crypto assets, right? So if 99% of the millionaires that are out there don't believe in crypto assets, and yet they're still buying precious metals, gold and silver and all of the other stuff, and yet they don't believe in crypto assets, what is their take on how they're going to fix the dollar? Because if they're there trying to sell you in investment packages and how to actually go around storing your life savings and everything else, they're not talking about leaving America. They're not talking about the death of the dollar. They're talking about how to invest your dollar correctly, right? They're not talking about doom and gloom. The world's going to end because America's dollar's dying. They're actually asking you to actually build a portfolio based on the dollar. But they're not talking about crypto assets. So what did from your actual weekend away, what did they actually teach you in terms of what they thought about the dollar itself?
Well, they're, once again, as I explained, the barbell investment thesis. So they have their conservative plays like precious metals, right? But then they're in cash because they're waiting to go on the offensive.
So they're in cash right now. So if they're waiting to go on the offensive, right? So they're storing dollar right now. The world, these investors that you went in and spent 2 days with, They're storing cash. They're not storing gold. They're not storing silver. They're not storing
So they
precious
are.
metals.
They are.
They're stockpiling cash.
See, it's both.
Does that sound like millionaires are worried about the dollar?
No, no, they are. Yeah, that's why they're doing both. So they're stacking gold and silver and other real assets. And then they do have cash on the sidelines right now to buy more opportunities. But that's
So,
it, right?
I mean, if you knew the death of the dollar was coming tomorrow, if you knew it was coming tomorrow, would you as
Well,
billionaires or millionaires be saving cash?
nobody up that took the stage, nobody that I talked to, nobody that I heard of has said that they know exactly when the dollar is going to die or if it ever will or how the reset really ends up playing out. What you do is you recognize the problem and then you run through what solutions, what's the probability of these different solutions that could come out of this crisis, and then you invest accordingly. And that's why you have the barbell investment thesis. For those of you that don't know, you got conservative investments, and then on the other end of the barbell, right, you got your more risky offensive plays.
But when you actually, so you went to these guys were talking to you about barbell, and did nobody actually in that conference, as investors or future entrepreneurs, with all those people up on the stands to talk to, did nobody actually then ask those guys, is the death of the dollar coming in?
Well, they no, a lot of them all think that it is inevitable. Some sort of reset, restructure, and revaluation is inevitable.
And
Uh,
what actually came out what actually came out of those speakers' minds? Because they're millionaires and billionaires, right? They've got shitloads of wealth and everything else. If they were sitting up in front of brand new investors, brand new wealthy people that were going to be there to start off their barbell investments, why wouldn't they turn around and say, guys, you need to get out the dollar. You need to get out the dollar. It's going to come crashing down. You need to just get everything into gold and silver right now. Why did they not give everybody at that conference for the 2 days that constant speech? Why didn't they not say everything's coming crashing down, 90% deflation, everything else? Why did they not give you that speech?
Nobody in precious metals recommends.
You've muted. I don't know why.
Nobody that I've heard, and nobody I've heard on stage. Okay, can you hear me now?
I can, yeah.
Nobody that I know in precious metals, and nobody that I heard up on stage is advocating anybody to go in 100% on precious metals. Most people that are even very bullish, very pro metals, talk about making an allocation of like 10% because it's meant for wealth preservation. It's not meant really for upside gains.
It's a
People
store
say
of
gold
value,
hasn't
right?
done anything. It's supposed, yeah, it's more intended to be a store of value, specifically for gold.
See, I don't
Silver as
disagree
well.
with the thesis. I've never disagreed with the store of value with gold and silver. I disagree with buying it when it's a massive fucking green candle, but I don't disagree with storing the precious metals as a store of value. That's never been my disagreement with this. But it's just the death of the dollar itself. You literally went to an investment conference for 2 days, met some very, very, very big and wealthy people, and yet none of them are sitting there talking about how the American dollar is going to die. They're telling you to get out of the actual investments. They're not telling you to actually look
No, that
at
was the
different
whole
currencies.
conversation. The whole conversation was about this conversation that I had in this live about the position that central banks are in, the problem that they have, and the death of these currencies around the globe. And the BRICS nations building that powerhouse that they're building with a new reserve currency status, with a new SWIFT system. The whole conference was about that. As far as
Swift is,
allocation, nobody talks about moving 100% into gold or silver.
so there is no death of the dollar coming. There is no actual reset coming to the dollar. It's just going to be an evolved state of the current currency system. It's not a reset. It's an evolution to the next tech. This is all just software, Zach. It's just software being upgraded and bringing it on into the world front. We're not seeing a reset. We're not seeing a flip of the switch. We're just seeing an upgrade in tech, just like going from an iPhone 3G to an iPhone 15. It's just an upgrade, a massive bloody upgrade for the financial system that's coming into play. And instead of people being scared of it and flooded out of the dollar and thinking the whole world's going to come down crashing and burning, this new tech is actually going to be making things quicker, simpler, more cost effective. it's not about the death of the dollar. Yes, you guys are in shitloads of debt. You are in shitloads of debt, 35 trillion. And if you actually look at the bigger picture, you're looking at what, 300, 400 trillion, if you take into account assets and everything else. But it's not it's not going to be a reset.
Well,
It's an upgrade.
here's the thing. Yeah, call it an upgrade, call it an upgrade, or call it an evolution. Is it a peaceful transition? Is it sunshine and rainbows in Lebanon and Argentina and any of these countries that have gone through something like this? Is it just a nice, peaceful time, nice, peaceful transition? Or
I hate
is
to
it,
say that. That's not a transition. That's just shit that's been held on and held on and held on for so long that it was bound to come crashing down on its ass
it's an
anytime
evolution?
anyway.
It's an evolution.
No, that was inevitable. That's not an evolution. That's inevitable. When you've been propping up a country for so long that it has no way of restarting, and it's got political background in there that's absolutely corrupt as fuck, it's bound to actually come to this end of conclusion. There's only so much you can prop up somebody that's a bad debtor before, unfortunately, the bills have to be paid, and that's what's happened to those countries.
Right. So you're
That's not
saying
an evolution.
it's not going
That's
to be.
inevitable.
You're saying it's not going to be a reset. Let's not FOMO. Let's not have FUD. It's going to be fine for the United States dollar. In this situation, we're going to see people losing their houses, losing their businesses, on the streets starving. And in other countries, we've seen riots in the streets. We see gas shortages. We see people that aren't making it through this transition. So for us to be sitting back here in our chair calling it an evolution and that it's going to just be technology upgrading, I think is out of touch with the streets being on fire in these other countries. While I sip my woke latte that I paid $7 for, these guys over here are burning down the streets, brother. To say that it's just a peaceful evolution of technology is completely out of touch. And that's why
But
I'm
you're confusing the
Americans
two
specifically
things that,
to this situation. Americans
like,
are sitting back fat and happy. We're still doing our barbecue and having a good time. While these people aren't making it, brother. That's the point.
you're
This is not going to be
confusing
a
two.
peaceful transition.
It's a great platform that you've got, but you're confusing the two issues. You're blurring the lines between a financial upgrade versus the financial economic structure of the planet. So we're doing for a financial upgrade on the software because that's all cryptocurrency is. It's a blockchain technology that basically allows the banks to be able to transfer money, decentralized or centralized, depending on how you want to look at it. And then you're putting onto the top of that all the issues that are currently going on in the world, and you're blurring the lines between the two. The two don't meet. They only meet because of the way that the actual money is and who owns the money. But the two are totally separate. Crypto assets, CBDCs, the way that the financial system is going to run are not anything to do with the current financial debt of the countries themselves. We already know that the UDPN is going to be from red date technology. That's going to be for stable coins and CBDCs. We already know that the CBDCs themselves are going to be run by the central banks. Commercial banks are going to be outdated, and they're only going to be looking at investment arms and what they can actually do in terms of loans and everything else. We know that there's an upgrade coming, an evolution in the way that we bank.
So
But that's not really.
What options do we have? We understand we have a debt currency liquidity crisis. You're saying that they're not related, and it's not related to cryptocurrency technology, and that
I
all
wish
of
I
these
had guys
are
in a
doing their
Discord
own.
sending me links.
No, and then basically you're saying that now we have the UDPN or whatever network that is, and this stable coin, and then Adam's got a coin that he's going to tell us about, and so basically we have no opportunity. So what are we supposed to do? Because you're saying that I'm getting people to FUD and FOMO, and well, what's the solution then?
I mean, you've got to separate the fact of what you're trying to actually achieve, right? If you're trying to say XRP is going to be the bridge currency for the world, great. Then you're going to have to say, then you're going to have to agree that CBDCs are the way of the future because the CBDCs are coming. That's going to be how they're actually going to transact on the actual ledgers themselves. Then you've got to kind of move away from the actual debt side of things because it's going to be tokenized assets, right? So if you're going to go down that route, you're going to have $30 trillion worth of tokenized assets that's going to be sitting on the central bank side of things. Again, this is just an evolutionary jump to the technology That's not going to solve the debt issue. It's just going to revolutionize how it's going to be transacted around the world. It's not resolving the issue. Blockchain technology does not resolve issues. It just resolves problems of transactions. So when we're looking at the actual technology itself, it's not the same as looking at the world debt and the world economy and everything else. That's a government issue. That's how governments run their countries. That's not anything to do with how the blockchain technology is actually affected, which is why I'm saying the two cannot really meet when we're actually comparing the two. And what sort of solution is a blockchain technology? How does XRP actually become the solution? How does it become the solution? Because the only reason why XRP's got liquidity is because retail have bought it in. But then you're saying that the people are suffering in Lebanon because of the money that's there. But the people also create that value of the Lebanon pound. The valuation of the currency is the people, right?
You deflected from my question. I asked, what's the solution? Where's the opportunity? What is Dark Horse investing in? Not financial advice, but what's the opportunity that you're investing in? Because apparently we're just talking about FUD and FOMO over here.
Well,
so what's the opportunity?
How can I invest in somebody else's debt? How can I solve US debt? How can I personally solve that? How can I invest in that debt? I can't. How can I invest in Lebanese debt? How can I invest in Syria's debt? I can't invest in anything.
What can you invest in, and what are you investing in?
That's for me to know. I'm not an influencer, Zach. I don't want anybody else to follow my lead. I don't want to actually take that. What I will do is I will say that I'm not going to invest in things that are going to absolutely fuck up the country or absolutely waste people's time. The thing is that I'm not investing in things that are on green candles, Zach.
Okay, so we got that. You're not buying green candles. But how are you going to come up here and say that I'm just spewing FUD, FOMO, and you're not going to offer any alternative solutions? What are you doing then?
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Crypto moon rocket. Yeah, I'm investing in Lego at the moment. I'm investing in Lego. That's definitely the way I'm investing my money. I'm actually investing in my future, Zach. I'm investing in saving my money right now because I'm moving to Australia. So half my investments I liquidated just before. The other half I unfortunately kept in stakings that have actually dropped by half the value. But don't worry, I'm still in the green and quite a lot of my assets that I've got. The thing is that I'm not trying to solve a problem with the technology. I'm trying to work with the current world itself. I'm trying to figure out ways to make money out of the current situation. I'm not trying to FUD the situation. I'm not trying to create fear. I'm trying to actually, like with the words evolve, move forward, upgrade. These are positive words. The death of the dollar is kind of like static.
Hey,
it hurts.
Is positive words feeding families in these countries right now?
No. I'm not.
No. Positive words aren't feeding the people of Lebanon when they have to go pay double for their groceries today. Positive words doesn't cut a check, buddy.
Positive words help people actually understand that there is a future available to them.
Let's all feel good. I want to feel warm and fuzzy inside Dark Horse. Please tell me. How can I feel warm and fuzzy?
No, you are up shit creek. There are 35. You got $35 trillion worth of debt, Zach. There is no denying that.
Exactly.
There is no denying that.
What are we going to do about it?
But come on,
what are we going to do?
Have you done austerity? Have you done budget? Have you done budgeting? Have you actually held your government accountable?
I wish we would. I wish we would. I wish we would declare bankruptcy. I wish we would cut. I wish I could opt out of Social Security. I don't want a dime from my government. I wish, but I can't. But what can I do? I can buy metals. I can buy crypto. I can get ready to invest in real estate. I can run my business. That's what I'm doing. That's what I tell people. So it's not just FUD. You can't call what I'm talking about here FUD and FOMO. I'm providing clarity. I'm showing real actions, providing transparency, never selling out. Here's how I'm doing it. Not financial advice. Here's how I'm doing it. And what are you doing? What are you offering?
I'm offering people the ability to do their own research into the projects that are actually coming out, Zach. I don't actually try and FUD people. I don't try and scare the shit out of people. I also don't try and bring people into projects based on different values.
You see,
I do research. I teach people to actually do their own research rather than believe in just the media and looking into what they actually listen to all the time. But again, do you not see that death of the dollar is kind of like the biggest FUD ever? You guys are too big to fail. Do you not see that? Or are you that so against your own country right now that you actually think, you believe the death of the dollar is coming and that you guys are going to absolutely be up shit creek without a paddle?
I will tell you this from a business perspective. Any business that is spending 20% of their gross revenue on covering the interest on their debt, that's unsustainable. That's the position of the United States government right now from a balance sheet cash flow perspective. Okay. They
Yep.
bring out 5 trillion and they're going to have to spend, over a trillion, 1.2 to 1.5 trillion are the estimates. So it's about 20% of the gross revenue, the income for the business is going to have to go to debt servicing. That's
Yep.
unsustainable. That's not FUD FOMO. That's clarity on the situation.
We are not too big to fail. No, you're not too big to fail, but we kind of need you guys. You guys are so wrapped up in yourselves, really, that it just like this whole dollar thing has got you guys so paranoid. It's actually scary, actually, to watch you guys feel this way about your own country and to actually just put the shit out of it. You guys really
But,
do need to
brother,
get. I hate to say this, but you guys definitely need to get Trump back. Make America great again, because you guys had the best sort of Jonesing feeling going through your lives at that moment. And you got
hey,
Biden. You're just
I got good news for you. He will be back. I got good news for
yeah.
you.
You need him. You need him because this whole death to the dollar is kind of like destroying you guys right now, especially the fields that you're dealing with.
So what should we do? Go buy treasury bonds?
I mean, could you? I mean, is that not an option for you?
It is. Yeah. The most Wall Street shills would tell us the 60-40 portfolio, 40% is bonds.
So the Wall Street shills. But what was your investment guys that you went to go see in the 2 days, Zach? What did they say about investment bonds?
Some of them are holding some short-term treasuries, not long-term, short-term treasuries. Some.
Yeah.
But those are guys with millions that they need to put somewhere. So it's different than the average person. It's different from my situation. That's why I don't invest in bonds. And because I look at the business, our United States government, like a business, look at the cash flow statement, it's unsustainable. I'm not going to invest into that business. I'm not buying treasury bonds. My country is going bust, and I'm very disappointed with my country. It's not FUD, it's not FOMO. Our people are struggling here.
Apparently, this guy doesn't understand the monetary system has to crash to bring in the new one. Zach, what happens if you don't pay your debts? What happens to other countries there? If America reset itself, right? If America just stood alone and went, fuck the rest of you, I'm going to reset my dollar, I'm going to absolutely wipe out my debt. What happens to the rest of the countries that you owe money to?
Well, not many people have much leverage over the United States, but what they've already started to do is just ditch our dollar, ditch our treasuries. They're not buying our treasuries. In fact, they're dumping
Yeah.
them.
But you owe like 4% to Japan, 3% to China, and I think you owe 2% to the UK. So what do all the other countries do if you just automatically reset your debt? And if you just reset it and went, fuck the lot of you, I'm not paying it. What happens then?
I don't know, to be honest. I don't know how that situation plays out.
So
I know we
talking
have
about this great reset. I mean, looking at your chat, Zach. Everybody's here talking about the great reset. Everyone comes here to listen about the great reset. America's going to reset its currency, and I don't know about what the hell I'm talking about. All the currency in the world, blah blah blah. But then, what happens to everybody that you guys owe money to? Do we knock on your door? I mean, does the whole world then turn up at your shores and say, right, we want to take our money back?
Probably not. I mean, we got the biggest military known to man.
What? So now what you're saying is because you've got a big army that we can't actually get our money back.
That's always maintained the reserve currency status going back to the Roman Empire, brother, is the biggest military.
So now it's not about how you want to police the world. Now it's how you want to attack the world because you want to reset yourselves. Do you see where I'm going with this? You've gone from being a police in the world to now being a fuck you world. We ain't paying it.
I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying I support that. I'm not saying that I want, as an American, us to have that role. I want us to, have a currency that's actually backed by real value. And I do want to get out of other people's business. I want to bring most of our troops home, like a lot of them. And I'd like to stop sending money to all these countries. I don't want to send anything to any of these people, period. Because we're
So
broke. We're broke.
yeah,
That's why,
you're
even if
broke.
I wanted to be a nice guy and send money to Ukraine, we're broke. We're bust.
But Zach, if you do a great reset, what happens to all the other countries that you owe money to? That's what I keep coming back to, right? Everyone in your chat is like, oh, he doesn't know what money is. He doesn't understand America, blah, blah, blah. But let's face it, if you guys did a whole currency reset on yourself in your country, what happens to the rest of the world and all the money that you owe them?
This is why the other countries are having to reset their currency faster. It is because they have dollar denominated debt. And so they're devaluing their currency. They're doing these things to cover their debt service, to be able to cover their liabilities. That's the only option they really have. And then they get to the point where they've destroyed their fiat currency so much that they have to repeg. Like you said, this is not new, Lebanon repegging to the dollar. They repegged back in the 90s.
Actually, I do, George, yeah. To be fair, I have literally just woke up and I do want a Monster, but it's sugar-free, so I'm good, man. I'm good. Anyway,
but once again, then they have to repeg, they have to restructure, they have their own issues. So everyone.
Right, but the thing is that you're still going to owe China 3%. You're still going to owe Japan 4%. So you guys go reset. It's still, and these guys are going to go sort out their currency. They're going to sort out their ability to pay back their debt that they owe. But they're still going to want money from America. Where are you going to get that money from, Zach?
You devalue the currency and you send them the money. The money.
But what money? You've just reset. You've just reset. What money? Your money won't be worth shit to the rest of the world because you already owe them. So what are you going to do then when you reset it?
What you do is you send them cash that you've devalued. That's how you pay back the debt. That's why inflation is good.
But you just reset it though, Zach. You just reset the whole currency. Your currency value is basically what you set it at, not the rest of the world. You still owe the rest of the world all this goddamn money. And the rest of the world is now going, America pays the money at the value in which it was, but you just reset it to a whole new value, a whole new standard that doesn't exist to the rest of the world. And you just then said, I'm going to pay you cash, but your cash is worth shit. You just said you reset it. You may as well just send us pieces of paper. So how are you paying the rest of the world if you reset internally?
But you're talking about a hypothetical scenario, right?
But so are you. So are you. Death of the dollar. Yeah. Global reset, digital reset, a whole America reset. Don't pay the debts. And if we want to come for the debts from America, basically you've got the biggest army.
No, see, I started out this whole show talking about real scenarios that are taking place, which is what's taking place in Lebanon today, devaluing by 90%. That's real. That's real. That's not a hypothetical, right? So the currency resets are already happening. So you think that it can't happen in America? Okay, share your opinion on that. That's fine. And go bullish on the Treasury. If you want to buy U.S. Treasuries and you're bullish on the United States government, go ahead.
No, Doug, I'm not. Right, so let's just read what is that. Why is he asking Zach how to solve the world problems? No, I'm not actually. I'm asking asking Zach how to solve the American problem. And his answer was to reset the currency, start from scratch, use the XRP as a total currency itself. But then I said, how are you going to actually then pay back the other countries that you owe the debt to? Which is where this whole plot of reset of the currency doesn't work. You owe far too much money to the rest of the world. And the rest of the world owes far too much money to everybody else.
Here's the situation. Some of these countries are already past the point. They don't even care probably to get paid back. Right now they probably still do because the US dollar still holds value. But in the scenario that I'm talking about, it would be no problem for us to send them the money. We would just print it and we send the cash to them, right? Or we do a wire transfer, however we do it. We print the money and we send it to them. That's easy to do. But are they going to be happy with us? Are they going to want that dollar? No. But we've essentially paid off our debt, right? Because we owe, I don't know how much the amount is. Let's say we owe $5 trillion to China, right? We send them $5 trillion cash, not a problem, right?
But you just said the cash has been reset and it's worth nothing. So he's going to send $5 trillion worth of $5 trillion of what?
Well, that's not our problem. That's their problem. You know what I'm saying?
No, I don't know what you're saying. There's just holes in your theory and your plot entirely. This is why I am on the evolutionary thing, and the whole thing the whole world is going to go through this whole evolutionary change with their software systems and the rest of the world's issues is not really the same thing as the blockchain issue.
And
This is why the reason why I keep it.
And the common man and woman can't feed their family, loses their business, loses their real estate, and gets wiped out. Yeah. But if you want to call it an evolutionary happy transition, then call it that.
Okay. Mate,
fire in these countries.
That makes no. It makes no sense. Honestly, it makes no sense. An American reset, a dollar reset, and everything else does not make sense. And everybody in your chat seems to be the same with the actual thesis of what you've been saying. The dollar reset is coming. The dollar is going to die. The dollar is basically at its end. And yet you went to a two-day conference with investors that didn't say any of this. And then when I talk about the actual dollar reset and everything else, and then how are you going to actually keep up with the things that you owe to the other countries? And then it's just basically fuck them. So I don't get where you're coming from, Zach. And on that note, I think I'm just going to drop out, buddy. I'm going to leave you to it, mate. By the way, your chat is amazing. You guys are funny. You guys are funny in chat. You're right. I don't live in America, guys. I don't live in the States. I don't understand the pains that you're going through at the moment. We've just gone through 12 years of austerity here in the UK, where we had all of our services cut, our NHS cut, our doctors cut. We had all of our abilities that the government actually gives us cut. And I mean, streamlined. We've had our police halved. We've had our firemen halved, our doctors halved. Can't get doctors, can't get anything because of the austerity measures that we've put in. But I don't understand what you guys in America are going through at all, because, hell, 12 years of austerity where we've been absolutely up the wall with no money whatsoever, hardly anything been spent. And this is what's coming to you guys. This is what your government needs to do to you guys. But at the moment, you guys are just more about killing the dollar, resetting, and hoping that the pain will just reset itself. It's not going to reset itself. That's the problem.
We got a lot of problems in the United States, but thank God we don't got to answer to you Brits anymore.
That's fair enough, Zach. Anyway, buddy, take it easy.
Hey, man, I always have fun. That's how we do it. That's how we do it, folks. We have fun. Hey, guys, if you appreciate this session, please do me a favor, okay? Make sure you follow, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our live shows. And also, please smash this thumbs up on the way out. I'm going to post this on YouTube later. So TikTok, you're probably wondering, what the hell is he talking about? I think I'm going to upload this to YouTube once again, just to, share this whole conversation, this live. It went way longer. I was only going to go live for like 20 minutes. But then here we go. We got these guys pull up. They want to chat. We set them straight. You know how we do it. And if you guys appreciate what we're doing over here, feel free to support the channel by going over to the website. We got affiliate links for getting your cryptocurrencies, your wallets, and for rolling over your 401k retirement account to precious metals. Okay, guys? So please get tapped in. This weekend, we're doing a real estate seminar on Saturday. And we're going to be talking about making money in the real estate asset class during a recession. Okay, it's going to be a great session Saturday. It's going to be when we have our weekly calls. Big session coming up. Okay. All right. I appreciate everyone. Thank you so much, chat. I will see you guys. I'm going to be making some more content here today. Actually, I'm not done. We're not done with the content. So more is coming on the way. I appreciate all of you guys. Okay. And we'll see you in the next one. All right. God bless all of you. Thank you so much, guys. Always a pleasure.